Hey everybody, this is John with a message today about relationships. Maybe my favorite subject to talk about of anything. This is about peer group, about family, about your deepest connections in your life. Oftentimes when I'm speaking or coaching, I'll ask people, who's in your front row? And what I mean by that is, who are you giving a front row seat to in your life? By the time that you dedicate to these individuals. Throughout our lives, people will move up and back in their seats. At certain times, certain points of your life, you might be spending more time with certain individuals and you move them up and you give them better access to you. Sometimes in our lives, we move on to a different path. We change jobs, we change schools, we change our world, and that oftentimes changes the dynamics of our relationships. Which means every 6 months to a year, we need to be thinking about who is most important in our life right now. About every 6 months, I sit down and ask myself, in the charity, in my business, and in my personal relationships, who are my top 10? Who's my front row? And those people change, based on what I'm doing, what projects I'm working on, maybe where they are in their lives. Do we have kids or not have kids, or where we're living geographically? There's so many factors that go into play about who's in your top 10, who's in your front row. The most important thing, though, is that we're intentional about it. I'll never forget, it was years ago when I started doing this exercise for myself. I sat down and I thought, who's the top 10 in my business life? And I realized at that moment that somebody who I had not been giving a lot of time and attention to, somebody that I should have been reaching out to more, somebody that I should have been scheduling meetings with and calls with, was not even in my top 10. And we were talking maybe once every 6 months to a year. And I realized I need to move that person up on a priority in my world and give them, more attention. Let them know how I feel about them. Schedule calls, schedule meetings. I moved them up. I was driving down the road later that day, and I got a phone call from somebody that we were kind of growing apart. I looked at the phone, and I knew that that person was not currently in my top 10. I love that person, but we just weren't aligned in a business sense right now. So I pushed send to voicemail, and I instead called the other person who had recently moved onto the list, scheduled a dinner, and because of that, I realized I could be intentional about my community. Now, everybody's important, and everybody's a rock star. And this isn't about making somebody more valuable than another. It's simply about the value of the relationship between you and that person. Knowing where you are in your life, where you're going, how you can make the biggest difference in the world, who you need to partner with. This is about team selection. Think about it like you're choosing your team in life. And ultimately, everybody has different strengths. And sometimes team players get traded from one team to another because it's not only better for the team they might be leaving, but it's better for the team, of course, that they're joining. And then it's better for the individual. In other words, the dynamic of relationships is one about intentionality. It's about selecting people that are the best fit for you and that you're the best fit for them. This is about a give and take. It's not about one side serving the other. It's about two people coming together and creating synergy to have the biggest impact on the world possible. I'm going to encourage you today to make lists for yourself. Maybe it's just one list of 10 people overall. Maybe you categorize your life. If you're a student, maybe it's my top 10 relationships in my college or university world. It's in my church. Who are my top 10 relationships there? In my family, who are my top 10 relationships? And how would I rank them in order of importance? Who do I want to spend time with the most? Think about that for yourself, about how you would rank people. And truthfully, if it's literally like, I don't know where to put that person, number 3 or number 4, they're so equal, just pick one and move on. The important part is getting clear about who is in your front row in life. So, that's my message for today. Take action. Share your comments with me. Post below on the video. Tell me what you learned from this, what the experience was like for you when you did it. Or teach me something about this that I don't know yet, too. Let's communicate and learn together. Until next time, keep living life in the front row. And remember, no matter what seat you're given, you can always choose to have a front row experience. Take care, everybody.